Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. They're back, baby. I hope you're ready for week 13. We're ready here at the Up and Running Pod. Let's get through week 12 and then right on to week 13. Happy Thanksgiving. It starts right now. We got 2 hours until game time. By the time you see this, probably just an hour, maybe an hour and a half. But let me tell you something. Last week, horrible calling games, stupid games up and down the line. But we started off with a banger. Pittsburgh losing to Cleveland 19-24. Called it, had it going on for Thursday night football. Listen here to get your picks for today as the game started 12:30 on your Thanksgiving weekend. Hope everybody's excited. I'm excited. Can't wait. Let's get right to it. Already talked about Thursday night. Cleveland takes care of Pittsburgh in the snowy tundra of Cleveland, Ohio. Enjoyed time with the Brueggemans, and they're big Cleveland fans. Guess what? They didn't pick Cleveland to win, but this guy right here had faith in Jameis Winston getting the job done. And then your Miami Dolphins, 3 in a row, looking at playoff contention. Tua had a great game, 34-15 over the New England Patriots. Moving on, you got Caleb Williams having a renaissance since they put in a new offensive coordinator, but they lose as Minnesota comes in and wins 30-27 in overtime over the Chicago Bears. Detroit, Indianapolis, let's be honest. Can Detroit lose? They've got one loss on the season. They win 24-6 over Indianapolis. They look like they're going to be in the Super Bowl. The NFC is falling apart with the exception of the Eagles, who face a tough test this week. But Detroit is on a collision course to face Philadelphia in the NFC Championship game. Let me tell you, it's something that dreams are made of. Go Detroit. Tampa Bay and the Giants. Let me tell you something. Baker Mayfield is top 10 in yards and touchdowns, also in the bottom half in interceptions, but they win 30-7 over the horrible Giants. The Giants are so bad. Brian Daboll's looking to go back to Alabama. The quarterback's leaving. He's at Minnesota now. Tommy DeVito doesn't even want to play. He's injured, and who thought that guy was going to have a problem? I mean, he's the mob boss of mob bosses in the quarterback world. What is going on? The Giants might have a worse owner than Dan Snyder and the one in Miami. You know, that guy that can't get us anybody to do anything ever. Even though we have good teams, we get rid of good leaders, we get rid of good players, but they're 3 in a row, baby. They got 3 wins in a row. Dallas and Washington, if you watch this game for 3.5 quarters and you said this game is awful, you're exactly right. What a terrible, terrible game to be watching. But let me tell you something. The last 5 minutes of the Dallas Cowboys versus the Washington Redskins / Commanders was an amazing game. One of our listeners, old PJ George Bird, was at the game. He might not ever want to go back as his kicker, Austin Seibert, misses 2 extra points, which would have had them 28-26 with less than a minute to go. Oh no! Big time happening. Dallas gets the win in Washington over the newly rejuvenated ownership. Got a quarterback, new coach, new GM, got all this going on, all the positives, and yet you've lost 3 in a row, one of them being to the awful Cooper Rush-led Dallas Cowgirls. How do you feel about yourself? Yikes. That's pretty bad. More to them as they face Tennessee this week. Kansas City goes to Carolina and almost gets beat by the NFL's second worst team behind the Giants, the Carolina Panthers. No, the Panthers haven't figured it out. Defensively, they did. But let me tell you something. To the brink, they took Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes had to drive down the field to win this game. Here's the thing with all that. Kansas City can't keep living heart attack football. Something is going to happen. They're going to play a good team, not this week, and really not in their division, but they're going to play a team in the playoffs that doesn't have the problems that every team they've played the last few weeks has played. Thank goodness the Bills knocked them down a peg. Hopefully that stays up. We had KC this week with a win, so that works out for us. But, man, I'd love to have seen Carolina put it to Mahomes, as my picks were in the wash already. Tennessee and Houston. C.J. Stroud comes out of Ohio State, takes Houston to the playoffs last year, And this year he is struggling. Steps out the end zone, gets a safety. Tennessee wins 32-27. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks for C.J. Stroud. Might want to stop giving the other team the football. And then you've got the awful AFC West matchup of the Denver Broncos versus the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders scored 19 points, but Denver scored 29 to get the win. And then Mason at home, feeling all the depression as Brock Purdy doesn't play the football game. San Francisco rolls into Green Bay and gets annihilated. Is San Francisco in trouble? Yes. Is there a way out? Possibly. The NFC West is struggling. You've got the Seahawks, you've got the Rams, you've got the 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals, all looking like they belong to the old NFC East when they went to the playoffs in 7-9. This could be the second year that a under 500 team for the NFC West goes to the playoffs. We will see how that all pans out. But San Francisco gets throttled by 4 touchdowns in Green Bay. Seattle handles their business against their NFC West rival, Arizona, 16-6. We had Seattle. What a good pick. And then the Philadelphia Eagles travel out to L.A. to face the Rams, 37-20 victory for the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia's hitting their stride. Folks are getting healthy. Jalen Hurts getting the job done. Defensively, they're strong. And this weekend, they've got the toughest test of the season, in my opinion, facing one of my Super Bowl prediction teams. And lastly, Monday Night Football. You've got the Baltimore Ravens traveling all the way to the Los Angeles Chargers. And guess what? The Ravens come away with the win, 30-23. Really, 30-16. 7 of those were in garbage time. But the Ravens are the best team in the AFC right now. If you look at the Chiefs record-wise, yes, they have the best record. And that's fine, folks. But again, you can't keep living in heart attack land if you want to win Super Bowls. Granted, they've done it 2 years in a row. Granted, I got yelled at because I said Patrick Mahomes hasn't done anything yet. Well, guess what, folks? He is in the early stages, just like Tom Brady was, of managing a team. He makes the plays that he needs to make when he needs to make them. He's done a great job his first few years. But this year, he is holding on and doing what he needs to do. At the same time, he's not doing the things that he used to do. And let me tell you something. When he's not doing the things he used to do, you see how good this team is not outside of him. They don't have all the weapons. People are injured. The bug is catching them. Now, they're 10-1. They've played crappy teams. They beat the Baltimore Ravens first game of the season because dude got a big fat foot. Outside of that, the Kansas City Chiefs are looking to lose in the playoffs, possibly in the first round, to a team that doesn't want to give it away. Most of these teams, I mean, you got the best you could out of the Carolina Panthers, and it wasn't enough, but the Chiefs should blow the Panthers out every week, and that's what Patrick Mahomes said himself. So for me, in my money, it's on the Ravens to go farther than the Chiefs in the playoffs. And with that, we round up Week 12. The Dolphins on a 3-in-a-row hot streak. The Eagles tearing it up. Detroit doing what they're supposed to do. And my favorite pick, the first game of the week, the Cleveland Browns with Jameis Winston rolled the Pittsburgh right on out of Cleveland and back to Pennsylvania. Now, happy Thanksgiving. We all know how Thanksgiving works in the world of America. There's a Thanksgiving Day parade, which is going on right now on all your local channels. But the real meat and potatoes, the real turkey and gravy, the stuffing, the cranberry sauce, the adult beverages you plan to consume while you're eating all this wonderful food starts at 12:30 when the Detroit Tigers, that would be Lions, host the Chicago Bears. The Detroit Lions are 10-1, facing the 4-7 Chicago Bears. If you're not putting all your chips on the Detroit Lions to finish off Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears and make them 4-8, you're crazy. No chance they lose. They can beat you with the pass. They can beat you with the run. The defense is held stable, lost their best defensive player. We're taking Detroit. Big points for the 12:30 game. Then we move right along to an NFC East horrible rivalry game between the Dallas Cowgirls and the New York Football Little Men. They are horrible. This game might be the worst you've ever seen. Cooper Rush might throw for 500 yards on the New York Giants. Guess what? We're taking Dallas, and we're giving them all the points. 15 out of 16 on the Dallas Cowboys. We put 16 on the Detroit Lions. We are either going to win this week or we're going to lose horribly in the first two games of the weekend. Then we move on to my Miami Dolphins, and we're only putting a point on them because they're playing in the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Miami Dolphins go in there and they go roll over Green Bay by 2 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill scores twice. Waddle gets once. There was a rumor going around this week that Waddle and Tua and maybe some others went to the Iceplex down in Florida where the Panthers play and were throwing passes on the NHL hockey rink. Don't know if it's true. It's rumor-clad, but let me tell you something. The Dolphins have figured out how to play in the ice. Tua's going to wear some sleeves. We're going to be warm, like just back in Miami. 95 degrees on the sideline. Go Dolphins, go. Let's make it 4 in a row. And then you've got Friday Night Lights. Kansas City. Welcome them in Las Vegas. Woo! Talk about a tough team. I wouldn't want to be the Chiefs. Oh, give me a break, folks. Kansas City's going to roll Las Vegas. Maybe. But we're all thinking they're going to roll them by 2-3 touchdowns. Kansas City's going to get this thing turned around and be a competitor in these games where they're going to start blowing out people. Patrick Mahomes said as much last week. As much crap as I give him, he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and probably when he retires will be one of the best quarterbacks ever. Indianapolis is traveling to New England for a loss. New England and Drake May will get it done this week against Indianapolis and move to 4-9, put the Indianapolis Colts at 5-8. Cincinnati's hosting Pittsburgh, and we're taking Cincinnati this week. Pittsburgh's going to lose 2 in a row. They're going to move to 8-4. Cincinnati's going to move to 5-7. If they keep winning, they've got a chance, but they're not going to catch my Dolphins. The Dolphins are going to make the playoffs. Book it. Cincinnati comes away with a win against Pittsburgh at home. 7-4. Los Angeles Chargers are going to go to Atlanta in the Dome and face 6-5 Atlanta Falcons. And guess what? They're not going to lose 2 in a row. They're going to get this game, and they're going to take care of business. Justin Herbert's going to throw a couple touchdown passes. They're going to get rolling. J.K. Dobbins is out. They're going to have to rely on Herbert a little bit more this week, and he's going to get the job done for them. We'll see how it plays out later on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Seattle is traveling all the way to the East Coast to get a win this week as they face the hapless New York Jets, a team that has a quarterback that doesn't know what he's going to do next year. But at 3-8, why would you come back? You're not going to get any better. Teams that are winning already have quarterbacks. There's nowhere you're going to go to make them a Super Bowl contender, and you might get in a cave for 6 months and lose your whole mind. Who knows what you're going to do? But Seattle goes into New York, handles their business, takes care of the Jets, and Jets, you still suck. Let's go Seattle. Houston is traveling to Jacksonville for a get-right game. Jacksonville's 2-9 on the season. Their whole team is just like the Giants. They are horrendous. The Raiders, the Giants, Jacksonville, a couple others in there need to just revamp everything. Sell the team, new coaches, new GMs, new quarterbacks, all of it. Houston's going to get a get-right game here, move to 8-5, control their destiny in the AFC South. Then we have Minnesota hosting Arizona. Trap game for Minnesota here. Kyler Murray's been known to show out, but Minnesota's going to get the job done. Sam Darnold's going to get the job done. And if he doesn't, the former New York Giant quarterback, Daniel Jones, will be there to save the day as Minnesota has signed him because they need a backup quarterback who's worthy of, I don't know, a hot dog or a piece of New York pizza, but not worth backing up a team that's 9-2 looking to roll into the playoffs and possibly get a wild card spot. Or if Detroit just so happens to fall asleep and slip up, take over the NFC North. Tennessee is traveling to Washington, where Washington has lost 3 in a row. Now, be it Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and Dallas, 3 games that are possibilities of losing at the beginning of the season did not look so much as they were 7-2. But Tennessee's rolling in there with a defense that just held Houston to 27 points and picked off C.J. Stroud twice. Let's see what happens. Oh, I can tell you, Tennessee, big-time fraud. Washington wins this game by 7 points. Looks like it's going to be 24-17, something like that. Will Levis will make mistakes. Washington's got to capitalize. And with a new kicker in place, after you put old Slipfoot on the IR, we will see what happens. Tampa Bay is traveling to Carolina. Tough game to pick right here. We're going to take Tampa Bay, but know this. I'm going to say it here first. We were looking at Carolina. wanted to take Carolina, thinking that Bryce Young at home might get it done. That defense was all over Patrick Mahomes last week. But we're going to take Tampa Bay. Smart money's on Baker Mayfield having another great game, putting a couple more touchdowns in the touchdown rank, moving him up the list to maybe second, possibly even taking over the lead. But he will not make mistakes against this secondary. Tampa Bay had 4 rushing touchdowns last week, look to have 2 passing touchdowns this week, and possibly 2 more rushing touchdowns to blow the Panthers out in Carolina. Los Angeles Rams are traveling to New Orleans for a get-right game for themselves. They're going to back up the loss last week with a win against a hapless New Orleans team that's got all types of problems. Coach being fired, quarterback's been injured. Who knows what's going on down there? Another team that's got a lot of revamping to do. All the fun teams, the Raiders, the Saints, the ones that have crazy fan bases that like to drink, gamble, and have fun, they're having troubles. The Rams are going to handle business in New Orleans. And then the game of the week, bar none, this should be flexed. Don't know why it's not. Nobody wants to see the Sunday night football game. Put this game on Sunday night football. Shoot, flex it to Monday night. The Philadelphia Eagles travel south and east to Baltimore to face the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Some of my joy for the Ravens is because of Derrick Henry, Roll Tide, Alabama alum, former player under Nick Saban, the GOAT. But here's the thing. He's facing Jalen Hurts, Alabama, Roll Tide, former player under Nick Saban. Win-win on this game. Not an Eagles fan, not a Ravens fan at all, but I get to see 2 of my guys go at it. Here's the thing. Philadelphia's going to Baltimore. So we're going to take Philly. Philly's been hitting on all strides. Philly can throw the ball. They've got deep threats. They've got quick threats. They've got it all. Baltimore can throw the ball. They've got Zay Flowers. They can run the ball. But you're facing a team with a defensive tackle who's about as big as a house, Jalen Carter, who can terrorize your entire offensive line. We will see what happens, but that's one you got to focus on. That's a 425 kick. Be ready. You've had some leftover turkey sandwiches after church. Enjoy the gravy running through your veins. Crack you a cold one. Sit back and watch this game, which should be a good 28-27, 35-33, something like that. Big-time points, big-time plays out of the Eagles and the Ravens. Enjoy that Sunday afternoon game as we roll right into Sunday night football with Mason's San Francisco 49ers traveling all the way to the cold, boring city of Buffalo that has a team called the Bills run by Josh Allen, and they're in Miami's division. Let's hope San Francisco gets a win, knocks them off their pedestal as they're 9-2. San Francisco needs a win to keep pace with these other NFC West teams, as Seattle probably will win this week. Arizona goes down, and then you have the Rams that have to get a win. So they've got to keep pace with these other teams and get the job done. We're taking Buffalo for the smart money, but San Francisco, if Brock Purdy can come back, which I don't believe he will. Mason, what do you think? Is Purdy back?
I don't know.
He doesn't know either, so our insider doesn't have a clue. It's all up for grabs this weekend, but Buffalo, that's who we're taking. And then we've got Monday Night Football. Not 2 high-power teams, but 2 teams coming off of wins. One team off of an improbable win. One team off a win they must have had. Cleveland at Denver, going out west. Jameis going to have a little problem breathing the air. Denver's coming away with the win. They're 7-5. They move to 8-5. Cleveland goes to 3-9. But that's okay. Jameis Winston is auditioning for another job. Denver is looking like Bo Nix might be the rookie quarterback of the year because that's the only position that will win Rookie of the Year. Jaden Daniels struggling in Washington, but we're taking Denver. We're taking Denver over the Cleveland Browns. Now, if you have anything going on today with family, enjoy it. Remember to be thankful. This is the United States of America. Let's be thankful that we have a Thanksgiving. We get to enjoy some time with family. Everything's going to be wonderful, okay? I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Crack you some cold one. You got to check us out on TikTok, Up and Running Live, at Bama Kirk on X, at Bama Kirk 46 on TikTok. Check us out. We got all the stuff. Y'all have a good weekend. Happy Thanksgiving. Peace.